The boy is a rare elf. His stunning beauty made his father offer him as a tribute to the emperor, but bandits attacked them on the way. His first reaction wasn't to beg for mercy but to beg for death, because he can be reborn infinitely. The boy was originally a nobody actor. Despite his stunning looks and great acting, he couldn't land a good script, until one day director Jay invited him to dinner, promised him the lead role, if he played nice. The director's words made the boy sick. What made it worse was before he left, he spotted his damn ex chatting it up with that creepy director. He got himself blackout drunk, collapsed on the park bench, totally out of it. Big tears kept rolling down. He couldn't understand why just wanting to act had to be this hard. Then an ethereal voice came from the sky. Since you want to act so badly, we'll let you act to your heart's content. As soon as the words fell, he was surrounded by countless black dots. When he opened his eyes again, he was lying on a luxurious bed in an exquisite castle. That's right, he'd traveled to another world, and the moment he arrived in this other world, he was told how to return to his original world. He had to kill this country's emperor. His current identity is Ryan Austin, an illegitimate child born to Viscount Austin, lord of this land and some unknown elf, because elves are rare and stunningly beautiful. From the moment he was born, his fate was sealed. Enter the palace to please the emperor, so his family could gain higher status. Today is Ryan's day to enter the palace. While dressing himself up, Ryan was thinking about his escape. Though he was grateful the god of transmigration sent him here, making his dream of playing a lead role come true. But what he really wanted to say was, screw you, because he realized the god of transmigration had screwed him up. But he still pretended not to know. Obediently got into the carriage heading to the palace. Two servants had heard elves have faces like angels. Intense curiosity made them secretly lift the curtain. Ryan's lazy sitting posture, his exquisite face, plus those eyes that were aloof yet passionate, made both servants' hearts pound. But the next second, Ryan pointed at them and cursed. What are you looking at? Keep looking and I'll pop your eyeballs out. The two servants were too scared to look again, but they were totally roasting him with that attitude. He'll win the emperor's favor. Was that even the elf language? The way he talks is like some grumpy old man. Ryan silently listened to their discussion, thinking you're the grumpy old man. But thinking it through, he couldn't really argue, because he'd been reborn 6 times, 6 identical lives, decades of time. But if not for getting a new body each rebirth, he really would be a grumpy old man by now. Using experience accumulated from his first 5 lives, he finally held a blade to the emperor's throat in his 6th life, only to discover the emperor was a monster who couldn't be killed by normal means. So he was certain the god of transmigration had conned him, since he can't kill the damn emperor, and there's no time limit on the mission. This life, he decided to just coast as the lead. When the servants stopped the carriage in town to rest, he'd take the money he snuck out, steal a horse and run. Then live a life of farming and hunting. Maybe even find love along the way. Spend a long life with his beloved. At that thought, his ex's ghost appeared before him. He dismissively waved away the fish. At that moment, the carriage started shaking violently, then did a complete spin. He was thrown right out of the carriage, head first into the dirt, just sat up and spat out the mud in his mouth. When he saw several fierce-looking men with knives walking toward him, then a chop to the neck. He passed out in the men's arms. When he woke up again, it was midnight. Looked like he'd run into bandits. The bandits not only stole his treasure, but because he's a rare elf, they planned to sell him. But before that, Red Hair wanted to sample Ryan first, but Ryan showed no fear. Instead hurled insults at Red Hair as he approached. He wanted Red Hair to kill him in anger, so he could be reborn again. After Ryan's repeated provocations, Red Hair finally snapped and drew his blade toward Ryan. Ryan happily closed his eyes, then a whoosh cut through the air, followed by warm liquid spraying on his cheek. He opened his eyes in confusion. Red Hair, who'd been about to stab him, was now clutching his hand pierced by a spike, kneeling on the ground howling in pain. Ryan wanted to curse whoever this idiot was, but when he saw who it was, his eyes went wide. How could it be his ex from the real world? The boy transmigrated to another world but refused to do his mission. Not only did he fight the divine envoy with the system, he even stole the system. Ryan stared in shock at his ex appearing in this other world, but his ex not only pretended not to know him, he also ripped off his shirt, pinned him face down on the ground, then slashed a cut across his back with a knife. So you haven't been marked by the emperor yet. Otherwise I'd have to toss you in the sea to feed the fish. Ryan had no idea what that meant. He yelled for the damn system to come out and explain, but the system didn't appear. His ex just gave him a look like he was an idiot. Are you casting a spell or something? Beyond Ryan, Ying turned back furiously to glare at the man pinning him down. Spell my ass, let me go. The ground's freezing. Yeah, my back really hurts. But his ex just grinned mischievously and pulled a shirt from his horse's supplies and wrapped it around him, pulled him into his arms. Ryan had no idea what this was about, struggled to get out of the embrace, but his ex just held him tighter. You're making me do this. Faced with Ryan's threat, his ex's eyes were full of anticipation. Will you punish me with magic or combat skills? The moment he finished, Ryan slammed the back of his head into his face. His ex let go in pain, while clutching his nose and groaning. Ryan seized the chance to pin his ex to the ground. If you don't let me go, I'll kill myself. But first, I want to know if you're really Jin Yuanchen. His ex smiled calmly, reached up to touch Ryan's golden hair, suddenly yanked his neck to pull him close. Whispered, I'm not telling you. Even playfully stuck out his tongue. Ryan was beyond annoyed, raised his hand to slap him. That's when the surrounding grass turned gray, white, the warning sign that the system was appearing. Every time the system appears, the world stops, and everything becomes hard as stone. Ryan tried to stop, but it was too late. There was a loud crack. His wrist bone broke. It hurt so bad. My hand's broken. Damn system, this is your fault. Ryan clutched his wrist, stomping in pain. Then a gap opened in the air. A beautiful winged boy stepped out. I told you I'm the divine envoy. This halo on my head is the system that maintains time and me. I'm busy. Say what you need to say. Ryan cut to the chase, asked if the man before him was really his ex. The divine envoy told Ryan, this person is not only his ex from the real world, but he died saving him. Then raised his hand and unlocked Ryan's original memories. Memory fragments slowly appeared before his eyes. Ryan saw himself about to be hit by a truck. Jing Yuanchen suddenly rushed out and held him tight. He was fine, but Jing Yuanchen lay in a pool of blood, seeing the guilt in Ryan's eyes. The divine envoy continued putting on a show. The fake memories we gave you before were to keep you mentally stable, so you could carry out your mission smoothly in this other world. And Jing Yuanchen only appeared in this world now. Because soul rebirth is different from transmigration, we spent enormous time and effort to successfully have Jing Yuanchen reborn in this life. If you want to revive Jing Yuanchen, the only way is to complete the mission. Of course, if you're ungrateful and refuse, Jing Yuanchen will die, and you can't return to your original world. Plus, he was reborn unlike you who transmigrated. His name is now Dufan, and he has no memories of his pipe. Ryan understood the divine envoy's meaning perfectly, basically threatening him to continue the mission with his ex's life. Don't even think about running away again, right? Well, the divine envoy believed Ryan would carry out the mission properly now. Finished and turned to wave goodbye to Ryan. Ryan's eyes suddenly darkened, shot his hand out and grabbed the divine envoy, then yanked hard on the high-low above his head. If he had the transmigration system, he wouldn't be at the mercy of the transmigration god anymore. He could take Jing Yuanchen back to the real world with him. The moment the transmigration system was ripped off, the divine envoy vanished. Lan looked at the transmigration system in his hand, planned to immediately send his and his ex's souls back to the real world. But the next second, the system vanished from his hand, so he still didn't manage to steal the transmigration system. Then the familiar system voice came from the air. World operations will resume. Beginning countdown. Ryan frantically ran toward Dufan, because he had to get back to the moment time stopped. But he ran too fast. Don't stop himself. Was about to crash into Dufan's rock-hard chest. He squeezed his eyes shut in pain, but what his cheek touched felt soft like a bung. At least he made it in time. Dufan looked at the boy leaning against his chest, said with amusement, "I see that wrong. I remember you got to slap me a second ago. How did it suddenly turn into throwing yourself at me?" The boy was taken back to the bandits' lair as their prize, but he arrogantly demanded the bandit leader listen to him. Ryan got up cursing, explained he just lost his balance. Otherwise that slap would have killed or maimed him. Dufan wasn't angry, he smiled, to thank Ryan for holding back. So she decided to give him a thank you gift. He'd marry Ryan as his wife. So Ryan was reluctantly taken back to the bandits' lair. The next day servants forced him into fancy wedding clothes. He stormed into Dufan's room furious. "Are we really getting married?" Dufan was also getting dressed up. Seeing Ryan come in, he waited for the servants to leave. He walked over to Ryan, carried him towards the desk. "You're just my prize. If I want it, you have no right to resist." Ryan was placed on the desk, looking at this domineering, unhinged man. Could those memories be fake, made up by the divine envoy to trick him? But Dufan also had questions. He remembered that night Ryan kept asking if he was Jing Yuanchen. Ryan explained he'd mistaken him for someone else, but he wasn't quite convinced. But none of that mattered to him. He pulled Ryan into his arms forcefully, made him sit on his lap, exposing the wound on his back. "It looks like elves just live long." Then applied medicine to the wound. Ryan gasped from the pain. "Now you're acting all concerned. Why'd you cut me in the first place?" Dufan kept applying the medicine. "If I didn't cut you, how else could I check if you'd been marked by the Emperor? I can't use magic. I could only use the enchanted knife the witch gave me." Saying this, he suddenly got interested. "That night, I was watching you provoke my men from the shadows. I'm really curious how you can beg for death, while also showing a desire to live. Does death equal life for you?" That line suddenly reminded Ryan of Jing Yuanchen from their school days. How do you smile and obey the seniors, while also giving off this vibe that you want to stab them? Ryan suddenly pushed him away. He realized he still couldn't abandon Jing Yuanchen. Thinking at that familiar face, he finally made up his mind to complete the mission, then have Jing Yuanchen revived in the original world. So he decided to take a gamble. "Want to stay alive? If you do, listen to me." But Dufan took Ryan's words as a challenge. In a blink, the burning cigarette was right in front of Ryan's eyes. Half a second later, Dufan put the cigarette in Ryan's mouth. "Looks like you don't understand your position. Right now, you're just a toy. You want me to obey a toy unconditionally? Give me a reason or show some sincerity at least." Ryan's heart jumped, struggled out of Dufan's embrace, walked straight toward the door without looking back. Back in his room, his whole body was shaking. Turns out even with the same soul, Dufan was no longer the Jing Yuanchen he knew. He had no feelings for him, could even kill him at any moment. So he needed a better reason to convince Dufan.